Breshut Kalakadosh, everybody welcome. Be'ezrat Hashem, Yebaracha Atzlacha, Igor Eliyahu ben Nadia, Dr. D, Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem will give him a lot of blessings. So he should work for Hashem, him and his family. Gam Kirill Daniel ben Michoel, Baracha Atzlacha, V'gam Yaakov ben Asher, Briut, Arbe Disyat Dishmaya. Gam everybody who's supporting the Shiur, Be'ezrat Hashem and Hashem, give him in Hashemayim, Kiflaim v'Kiflaim. וגם רפואה שלמה לכל חולי עמו ישראל. Everybody who needs a רפואה שלמה בעזרת השם, בזכות הקמצות, בזכות הפסח, בעזרת השם. So Hashem give him the ברכה, הצלחה ורפואה וכן יהי רצון ולומר אמן. 1000 הבדלות בין המתים לחיים. Whoever did not had, could not say Kaddish for נפטרים ונפטרות, להשם, may this lift the soul בעזרת השם, וכן יהי רצון ולומר אמן. We continue with the Hagadah of Pesach. We learn the laws every day. We send on a computer, we send on our phones, and a WhatsApp, we send the messages. Baruch Hashem, we cover a lot of laws. There's a lot of laws we need to know. Without the laws, we cannot sustain what it says in Hagadah and can never make a Hagadah properly. So I saw a couple points and a couple questions in Hagadah. They send me some people send me a list. It's like 20 questions. And the questions been asked by the kids, by the adults. The most important thing in that night, I don't know if somebody heard it, make everything excitement. If there's no excitement, there's a big problem. Because the Yetzer Hara is right now waiting, and what he wants to do, he wants to destroy, God forbid, for a person. He wants to destroy the person. Why? Because he's going to make an argument. And that's what happens when the person wants to do mitzvot, he wants to argue. So we have to be careful, we have to make sure, kavet. Sometimes you come to the Bet Knesset, you already prepare yourself, you say, listen, I come back home, I'm not gonna argue. And I know, something happens and they just start arguing. Oh, he's not happy. He's not happy. So it says over here, we continue with the Sipur, which means many understanding of how the Hagadah came forward to us and how we're supposed to be explained to the kids, to the close ones, sometimes adults, sometimes Talmidei Chachamim. מתוך הספר של רבנו מאיר אבוחצירא זיכרונו צדיק קדוש לברכה, Baba Meir. There was a great tzaddik living in the past times. His name is Baba Meir. Baba Meir, which is the family of Rav Abuchatzira. Chacham ben Zion Abu Shaul is saying about Baba Meir. What is he saying? Rabbeinu Siluk shel HaTzadik haya b'Hag HaPesach. Baba Meir passed away in a time of the Pesach. Hag ze en makom leYetzer Hara sheyachul. He says, in this night, there's going to be 7 days, tachlu matzot, bayom hashvi'i, tishbotu, se'or mibatechem. Bayom harishon tishbotu se'or mibatechem. You should get rid of all the chametz. So if we don't have the chametz, we have only chametz represents Yetzer Hara. With matzah represents Yetzer Hara Tov, a good angel. So the Zohar in Parashat Bo is asking a question. If the Yetzer Hara represents bread or has something to do with the east, why are we eating the whole year round? Aren't we supposed to be eating the matzah all year round? Why are we eating only matzah in the 7 days, which is 8 days outside of Israel? Why are we eating matzah if we able to eat the whole year matzah and to get connected to Yetzer Hara Tov, to a good angel? The Zohar is asking this question. So he's saying following like this. He's saying once you already have the trufa, medicine, in the time of the Pesach, Pesach gives us the medicine for emunah to connect to Hashem. The matzah gives us the emunah, which means the belief, and wanted to understand how the Hashem works. So Chacham ben Zion Abu Shaul, he talks about Baba Meir. So בשבת חמץ מצוו לאכול מצה שמורה, שהיה מדרגה גבוהה. He says to eat the matzah, the round of matzah in the 2 nights, It's very, very great level that Jewish people received from the Akadosh Baruch Hu. מצוות אלו שביטול חמץ מניות אכילתו, כוונת תורה לבטל מאיתנו יצר הרע. Chazal says, Hashem wants us to get rid of the yetzer hara during the Pesach. During the Pesach. רואה בזוהר פרשה בו, שכל ארבע מידות הללו נמצא בחמץ. He says we have 4 characters and traits inside the chametz. What's these 4 characters and traits inside the chametz? Chametz, which just means the bread. The yeast are inside the bread. What is it? Shechametz tofeach. He says chametz, when you put the yeast, what it has, it rises. So because it's raising, the yeast is raising the dough, ze mareh al gvua. It shows a person how much he has ga'ava, hoftiness, showing off. Bechina yisod ha'esh. He says this is when a person shows off. Each one of us, sometimes we are anav, humble. We're not to need to be humble, but we humble. We say, no, Hashem is no like this. We are humble. You're not humble. You need to go to fight. That means you need to go to fight. According to what the Torah says. You need to stop the fight. You need to stop the fight. People need to learn how to draw the lines. They don't know. So there's a book called Orchot Tzadikim. When to draw the line, when not to draw the line. So he says, Ga'ava, which represents the Esh, fire. So each one of us have a fire. And Arizal goes in the details. I don't want to go in the details. In a Shara Gilgulim, in a book of reincarnation, it says, when a person reincarnates in this world, if he's come from the fire, how do you know if I come from fire? I have an anger problem. I'm scared of water. I argue. That means you come from fire. You say, no, I'm a tzaddik. I'm a gewaldige tzaddik. It says each one of us have a fire. Some of us has more. Some of us has less. So chametz represents gvua, which means gvua, ga'ava. V'chametz nitpashet. Chametz also spreads. Mitrachev, and it goes all over chametz. Ta'imor raui la'achila yoter mimatzah. He says chametz, which is bread or anything has to do with the grain and the yeast, a person have more desire. It actually opens for the person desire, and it's less tastier than a matzah. Less tasty. Lama, why? Zerem es ha'elyan ta'ava. He says when a person wants and desire and more and more and more and more, it's non-stopping. Once a person alive and he could live up to 120, his will, his ratzon would never stop for have taiva. Tava, which just means I want. גם חמץ יש לו קול, כמו בגמרא אומרת, בצק חיריש, יש כיוצא שהחמיץ הרי זה אסור, מפני בצק שהחמיץ משמיע קולו, זה כנגד שיח ביטלה דיבור איסור. It says, chametz also he speaks. What means he speaks? He makes noise. Because he makes a noise, he says when a person gets connect himself to the bad speech. And each one of us, Baruch Hashem, we have a book, was donated by Dr. D, Shmirat HaLashon, how to keep our mouth quiet and shut. We have to know how to keep our mouth quiet and shut. But excuse me, I want to speak Torah. Torah, speak as much as you can. As much as you can, it's a mitzvah. All other speeches, there's no mitzvah. וכן גם במראה אומרת שאף ישרף איזה שאור כל שכספו שכסיפו פניו זה כנגד העצבות. He says when a dough rises and it gets burned, he says it represents the person depression. A person depressed. Why a person depressed? He's not happy of what he has? No. Smile. What does it cost for a person to smile? $0. It doesn't smile. You come just in the morning to see, That's it. He's in another space. Smiling, it costs for free. And it adds wrinkles, but it also makes a person happy. Gives them a long life. But it's hard for us to smile. Just smile. Hard. He says this represents chametz. It does not give a person to what? To concentrate, to be smiling. If somebody, God forbid, you smile, was something happening or it's not normal. You sing a song, they're going to take you, look at you. You belong in somewhere in exit 26 and in those crazy houses. Maybe it could be a chazan over there. A person does not even sing and does not even smile. So it says, "Kshichametz av she'eno bo shum pegam isur, ela hamidot ha'yisurot, ha'yisodot shizasku Torah miniyah otam bepesach." He says all these 4 characters and traits, which just means to have a gava, hoftiness, and a pride, and speaking nonsense, and have opposite of being happy with being not happy. He says the Pesach represents the opposite. But how many times we heard in a time of a Hagadah, all of a sudden people start arguing, and that's it. He rules the mood. He does the opposite on the Pesach. The Pesach has to be the most holiday for the Jewish people because we came from Egypt, 210 years being a slave. And we have to be happy that we come out of it. But slavery, in us we have the slavery. What kind of slavery do I have? I'm not slave. We are slave. We're slave to our boss. We're slave to our job. We're slaves. So, in yeshiva, there's a young gentleman. He says following like this. He told me, who is the king of the jungle? The king of the jungle is a lion. Who is the king of the forest is an ox. Who is the king of the water? So you're going to say a dolphin, a shark. King of all the birds, who is it? An eagle. And each one of them says, I'm a king, I'm a king. The donkey says, nobody is a king. He says the president could be a donkey, your boss could be a donkey, anybody could be a donkey. And he says, that's why I'm bigger than anybody of you. So what happens? Each one of us, we have to right now, it was a joke. You can't even have a sense of humor because you have a gaiva, you can't even smile. Can't even smile, a person can't even smile. So, this is the little bit to waken people up. Over here, I read and I saw something that is amazing. Rav Yehuda Tzadka, I can't cover the whole Hagadah, I'm going to cover the part of it. And it says over here in our Hagadah, and it's very important for us to know. It says over here, Vayhi Sham Legoy Gadol. So Hashem made us as a huge nation. So the Chazal says we are a huge nation. It does not mean we're a huge nation in the numbers. We cannot be 8 billion. Goyim is 8 billion. Jews maybe 40 million top that they count. With all the clothing probably that they have on them. Or probably converts, not converts, mixed, not mixed. We don't know. So it says Hashem took us out to be in a Goy Gadol. We're going to be a huge nation. And it says in the Torah. That's why a Jew, anything a Jew does, anywhere, is going to be known to the whole world. Either you like it, don't like it, that's what it says in Torah. Whatever the Jew does, that's it. Who did it? The Jews did it. Anywhere and every time. So it says, Milamed shayu Israel mitzuyim sham legoy gadol atzum kemo shenemar. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made us a big nation, and he's so strong. Okay, שנאמר, ובני ישראל פרו ושירצו וירבו יעצמו במאוד מאוד ויתמלא הארץ אותם. It says Jewish people is one of the nations inside the Egypt became more and more and more and more kids. A lot more kids. So the Chazal say 6 in one shot the lady gave a birth. 6 in one shot. And the question being asked, Tzaddikim, how many did Amram with Yocheved, which is Moshe Rabbeinu, mother and a father, how many kids that total she had? 3. How come she had in one stomach 6? That's the question. How many did Moshe Rabbeinu mother had kid? Only 3. Aaron, Miriam, and Moshe. So why can't she have 6? Like it says, each lady in Mitzrayim, she had more than 6 kids and 1 bird. That's the question. So we're gonna continue. That's the question. We should think about it. Why did Yocheved did not give more birth to the kids? Why we only had 3? So it says Hashem made us a big nation because we were multiplying in Egypt. The more we're multiplying, the more they killed us, the more we were multiplying. 130 years, Pharaoh was throwing the kids inside the river. 130 years. I just wondering if 130 years baby boys he was throwing in a river, Nile River, what the people thought. They got depressed, they hanged themselves, they will continue having kids. People had over here 2-3 months or 2 years COVID. A lot of people hanged themselves. A lot of people went crazy. But over there we're talking about 130 years throwing the kids inside the water. That's not 130 days. That's not one year, 3 months. I'm sorry guys to tell you, we don't even pay attention what we're reading. Imagine if a person being over here in the United States of America and God forbid such a thing happen. People will go crazy. It's no matter what, people are gonna go crazy. How the Jewish people inside the Egypt did not go crazy. And that was why they will continue having birth for their kids. Yeah? What's the question, Tzaddikim?
They didn't have a choice to give birth.
What do you mean? They were separated, like Amram was separated from Yocheved, and that's it.
They didn't want to be separated.
Why?
They wanted to be united.
That's what it says. B'schut arba dvarim yatzu Yisrael me'Mitzrayim. He says in 4 things, in a merit of 4 things, we came out from Egypt. What are the 4 things? Echad shelo shenu shemam. First thing, they didn't change the name. That's why it says in the Mishle, Tzaddik kadosh livracha, v'shem rashei mirkav. He says when a person is a tzaddik, you say his name should be forever. But he says somebody is a rasha, a wicked person, his name should be supposed to be rotten. That's why we're not supposed to give names, goyim names. Because when a person look at the movie and he says, I want to have Joshua, okay, Yeshua. They want to have a Christina or I want to have a Jessica. So they say, I want to have a Jessica. I look at the TV, I want her to be like this movie star. Or I want to be like a Jay-Z. I want to be a rapper. That's what I want to be. And that's what they name the kids. The Chazal says, every time you name the kid, that neshama that you bring in that soul together with this goyim soul inside the child. He says one of the things, we make sure we don't give to kids the goyish name, or anybody popular, or anybody king. We're not allowed to. A person wants to put his kid Joe Biden. We have one already. Okay? We don't need it. We don't need it. We could put it Yosef, but we cannot put Joe. You understand? Don't bring his neshama again to this world. So it says, Ariel, you're laughing. So it says in a schut, one of the 4 things that we did, we didn't change our names. Huh? ואחד שלא שינו שמם, שלא שינו את לשונם. They didn't change the language. The Yidden, the Jewish people did not change the language. זה יובן על שם מיועד על מהות של האדם. He says when a person has a name and he has a language that represents where is he come from and who is he and what is he. שכן רבי מאיר היה בודק בשמות, היה דויה אם אדם צדיק או רשע. רבי מאיר בעל הנס, he used to see according to the names. If the name is a bad name, if the name is a good name. He used to know according to the names, if it's a good name or it's a bad name. Baruch Hashem, in our generation, I'm going to tell you, even our religious Jews, they put real Jewish names inside the kids. That's something big. You understand? That's one of the things that Simanim of Mashiach, the new generation you see, they don't put so much those names. But some, unfortunately, even they go to Bet Knesset, some of them even president. They have a Jessica, they have this Christina, then they have the Melanie, Melody, Watermelon, Kiwi. השמות מיהודים על המעשים שלא נשתזו בזכות זה יצאו ממצרים. He says in one of the second things, we didn't change our names. That's why you guys call some of you different names, right? That was from previous Gilgul. If somebody have a name, Yaakov, don't call him Jacob. Call him Yaakov, right? Hey, Jake or Jack. It's even better. So it says, בזכות זה יצאו ממצרים. אמנם עדיין לא להתיישב, כי הרי כבר כתוב שלא שינו מעשיהם. לפי דיברנו, הרי שמותיהם בכלל מעשיהם. And they say Jewish people did not change the deeds. So why you need to tell us they didn't change the name? מדוע מנה שלא שינו שמותם? ואולי אפשר לומר כי שלא שינו את מעשיהם הנו בסתר. What do we care if they changed their name? They did not change their name. What do we care? He says, when you have the Goyish name, a person could blend in with the Goyim. When you have a Jewish name, you cannot blend in with the Goyim. A person right away stands up for his name. So the Chazal says that was the big thing for us. They would have changed their names and they would have blended in with the Egyptians. Are you going to say, what's the big deal? They changed the name and that's it. He says, no. שלא שנו את שמותם היינו בגילוי. He says, even they used to call them in the house Jacob, but in the outside they used to call Jack. He says, no. Outside they used to call him Yaakov, and inside they used to call him Yaakov. They did not change the name from inside and outside. Inside the shul we have a name. What's the name? Yaakov. Outside, hey Jack. That's the difference. He says in a revealing, in the inside and outside they did not change. כשהם נקראים בשמות זה בסימן שלא שינו בגלוי. עוד אפשר לבאר קשה שינוי שמות עם הגאולה, כי אחד המטעמים יצאו ישראל מטרם הזמן, מפני שריבוי ולחוסרין השלים המניין. מתי הם משנים את שמותיהם, ייתכן הרבה מן עבודה על ידי שינוי שמותם, יתערבו בגויים יהיו יקירם, ואז מה יעזור ריבוי אוכלוסין? He says, imagine yourself, a person comes to the city, and he did not change his name. He says, because he did not change his name, he says, like this, they're not able to connect with the Goyim. And that's one of the reasons also we came out 210 years from the Egypt. Instead of being 420 years, we were there instead of 400 years, we were there 210. אבל עתה שלא שינו את שמותיהם, נמצא כולם עבדים, על ידי ריבוי לסין, הרוויחו יוצאו קודם זמנם. לכן אומר, יצא ממצרים על ידי שלא שינו את שמותיהם, כי אם שינוי גורם שלא יכלו להתחמק. He says that was the reason we came out earlier, because we were separate from the Goyim, and Jewish people were separate from the Goyim, we were separate. אינם, שהיו ישראל מצויים שם, אמרו רבותינו זיכרונה לברכה, our sages say, במדרש רבה פרשה מצורע. רב חונה אומר בשם רב קפרא, בשביל 4 דברים נגאלו ישראל ממצרים שלא שינו את שמם ואת לשונם. He says they didn't change the name, Rav Kapra says, they didn't change their language. ולא אמרו לשון הרע. The third thing, they did not speak לשון הרע. ולא נמצא ביניהם אחד מהם פרוץ בערווה. Out of all the 210 years, they did not intermarriage with nobody. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Not to get intermarriage with the Goyim, to be inside with the Goyim. Hashem irachem, Hashem should be mercy on us. The percentage, we're not talking about other communities. In Bukharian communities, the percentage are growing intermarriaging with the Goyim. How many years we're here? 40 years we're top here. 50 years we're top here. Jewish people in Egypt, 210 years, not one person intermarried with the Egyptian, and the Egyptian did not intermarry. But you're going to say, they hate us anyways, so why they will intermarry with us? Not all of them. Yosef HaTzadik, one of the prime example for Jewish nation. Potiphar's wife, she wanted to have a sin with him. She was getting dressed in the morning, different dress at nighttime. So we see from here, she did want to get connected with him. But that was the praiseworthy for Jewish nation, 210 years. We were in Egypt, we would not intermarry with other nation. That's a great thing. שנאמר דבר באוזני העם, דבר נא באוזני העם, וישאלו איש מאת רעהו, מאישה מאת רעותה, כלי כסף וכלי זהב. Jewish people, men asking for men, woman is asking for woman. Look how much they were tzanua. They were so modest. They were asking gold and they were asking silver. When we came out from Egypt, yatzanu barichush gadol. We came out with a lot of richness. Masechet Bechorot in page 5, it says 90 donkeys was carrying each one of us with the gold and silver. Why? Chafetz Chaim says a person does not speak Lashon Hara, he's going to be rich. This guarantee. Rich guarantee. Where we are. So it says, how the Jewish person goes lady for lady, men for men, they're asking for gold and silver. Look how much they were modest. They went through so many sufferings, and what the modesty of them. אתה מוציאה שיהיה הדבר הזה מופקד אצל כל השנים, 10 חודש, מאז דיבר השם משה בסנה, ואמר לו, נתתי את אכן העם בסנה בעיני מצרים, היה תלכון, לא תלכו ריקם, ושאלו איש משכונתה. He says, Hashem told the Moshe Rabbeinu, go tell each Jewish person, they should ask from the Egyptians, go give me gold and go give me silver. And they went and they gave themselves. He says that Hashem put in their hearts chen, which means a beauty for the Jewish people to look, and they're asking and they're given to them. ולא הלשין אחד מישראל. The third thing, Jewish people were not snitching on each other. In Egypt, they did not snitch on each other. We live here 40 years in America, snitching become halacha lamaiseh. Halacha, which means it becomes a law. Snitching, it's okay. Jewish people did not snitch. We're not allowed to snitch. But my rabbi told me I'm allowed to snitch. Your rabbi told you you're allowed to snitch. He does not keep Shabbat. He does not keep kashrut. He does whatever he wants. But one thing his rabbi told him, so cold. You're able to snitch. That's normal. What kind of rabbi is this? And what kind of person is this? He says, Am Israel did not snitch. חשוד לא החזירו על מה שהועלו ממנו. ביאור המפורשים זה כוונה מאמר, מלמד שישראל מצוינים שם, כוונה בארבע דברים, בזכות נגאלו. He says in 4 things, the Am Israel, Yidden, able to redeem from the מצרים. הייתי במדרש, מסכת עבודה זרה. He says, רוכל אחד, he was one guy, he was going from city to city, city to city. And he says, rochel echad, rochel, which means he was selling perfume and a cologne. And he used to go from city to city. He's going city to city, and he says, who wants to buy cologne of life? Perfume of life. Who wants to buy, he says. Sharich Yamav. He says, whoever is going to buy this from me, this cologne and this perfume, his life, Hashem is going to prolong his life. Rabbi Yanai came to this guy, a simple guy. He says, sell me some of the life. I want also life. You get it, Tzaddikim? Rabbi Yanai came out. He says, I want to buy life. Give me. אמר לו, אתה לא זקוק לזה, ולא אלא הדומים לך. He says, Rabbi Yanai, he says, you don't need it. This guy was selling life. He says, you don't need it. He says, like you people don't need it. I'm not selling it to you. Why? Haftzir bo va'ala etzlo. He says, I'm not selling it. I'm not selling it to you. And he refused to sell him. Hatziu lo sefer Tehillim. This guy who is selling the cologne and perfume for the life, he took out the book of the Tehillim. וראו פסוק שכתוב מי האיש החפץ חיים נוצר לו שול מרע. He says, the Tehillim says, who is man desire life? He should keep his mouth from speaking לשון הרע. אמר רבי ינאי, כל ימי הייתי קורא הפסוק הזה, ולא ידעתי פשוט. He says, Rabbi Yanai says, all my life, I'm reading this Tehillim, I don't understand this Tehillim, all my life. The Tehillim says, who is the man? He desires life, and he refrained from himself not speaking Lashon Hara. וזה לא ידעתי הפשוט, עד שבו רוכל זה וידיעני, מי האיש חפץ חיים. He says, until the simple guy did not come in and did not tell me this verse, and he says, I'm selling life, I did not understand this verse. I did not understand it. Clear so far? Rabbi Yanai was leading this Tehillim. Mi ha'ish hehafetz chayim. Who is the man who desires for life? Refrain from himself, from speaking Lashon Hara. He doesn't understand this word, this verse, until this guy comes in and he says, I'm selling life. הנה מאמר זה צריך להבין. Rav Yehuda Tzadka says, we have to understand what it says over here. מה יהיה קשה לרבי ינאי? He says, why it's so hard for Rabbi Yanai to understand? על הפסוק שלא הבין על זמן שבו הרוכל הזה. He says, until this guy did not come in, Rabbi Yanai did not know this verse, what it says in the Tehillim, the explanation on it. מה הוסיף רוכל הזה? What did he add? What did he add that Rabbi Yanai did not know? ראיתי בספר כתב סופר. There's a book called כתב סופר. Look what it says. ביור זה ביורים נחמדים. He says it's a beautiful understanding what he's trying to explain to us. ומשהו זה שואל דוד המלך מי האיש החפץ חיים. Excuse me, who wrote Tehillim? One of the 10 tzaddikim, David HaMelech. So what is it David HaMelech saying? Rabbi Yossi Chidush. What David HaMelech saying? Who is the man desires of life? Who does not desire life? Anybody desire life? Why David HaMelech has to say about these things? Who is the man who desires life? Why he needs to say this? He says, what David HaMelech did, he was learning Torah all day and was learning halacha. And he was learning inside the Bet HaMidrash, inside the study hall. If you're sitting all day in a study hall, how are you going to speak Lashon Hara? You're not going to speak Lashon Hara. You're not going to badmouth people. David HaMelech knew what's the punishment and what's the negativity that comes out that somebody speaks Lashon Hara. Everybody with David HaMelech was pure and holy. He says, when you're going to go on the street, when you're going to do business, or somebody takes away your business, how you're going to react and how you're going to act. That's what David HaMelech says. Mi ha'eish, who is the person? Who is the man? Desire life. Not somebody sitting learning all day. Somebody going out there in the world and getting connected to the world. A person has to know how he able to save from himself from Lashon Hara. Get books. People ask me all the time, Rabbi, I want to become rich. I want to become rich. Masechet Sanhedrin. What happened with Masechet Sanhedrin? Who got cursed inside the Noah ark? 3. Caliph, dog. Dog got cursed because he all the time needs to be on a chain leash. Second, Orev. Orev, which just means they made a sin. The dog and a crow made a sin inside the ark. They're not supposed to have relationship. Not allowed, because the whole world, Hashem says, I'm destroying it, and you enjoying it, not allowed. So the first thing was a dog. Second thing is a crow. That's why it's black. The third thing, Cham. Cham, black people, come from Cham. Because they did a sin, he did a sin inside the teva in a dark room. Nobody could see it. Because nobody see it, that's why he got cursed, and that's why he's black. Until now, we didn't know where is it coming from. Now you guys know. Yes, tzaddik. Was he born black? No, he wasn't born black. He was born white. White, brown, but not black. Because he did this sin privately, nobody saw it. Hashem says, I'm going to reveal him. And he did this inside the ark. So the dog, Hashem cursed him, is all the time going to be in a chain. Yes or no? When we came out from Egypt, Lo yicharetz kelev loshono. He says the dog did not bark. Hashem says because you didn't bark. In Perek Chavbed Mishpatim, in the Torah it says, in the book of Shemot, chapter 22, Pasuk Lamet. Anything that is not kosher, Hashem says, throw it to the dog. He says, because he kept his mouth shut the midnight that we came out for a couple minutes, let's say a couple hours. He says, I'm going to give parnasah for him, not for him, not for his kids, not for his grandkids. I'm going to give all the time for him parnasah. Did he get cursed in the ark? Yes. Did he get blessed when he came out from Egypt? Yes. Hashem does not take out anything, and an animal that was cursed inside the ark, he would be cursed because he get chained up, but he's going to be blessed. Any good deed an animal does, or anybody in the world, Hashem is blessed them. That's why it says, anything not kosher, you give it to who? In the Torah it says, you give it to dog. The Chafetz Chaim says, if Hashem lo mafkiach, he does not give, which means whatever the good the dog did, he gave him for rest of it, not his life only, for all the dog generation. It says in the Torah, the verse, lekelef tishlichun oto, you should throw the non-kosher stuff to the dog. So the dog becomes rich because he did not bark. Chafetz Chaim says, if the dog, it says about me and you in the Torah, we the kids of the Hashem. If we're going to do His will, how much is Hashem is going to give it to us? The problem is, we believe it? That's the problem. So the Chazal says, a person, לכן כל זמן שלא הבין רבי ינאי ישוב לשאלה. Rabbi Yanai did not understand what the Chafetz Chaim wanted to say, the David HaMelech. הזאת שדוד המלך עשה הקדמה כזאת, מי האיש חפץ חיים? David HaMelech says, who is the man desires for life? מי שלא יחפוץ חיים, עד שבו רוכל הזה. He says, until this guy did not come in and did not make me understand what does it mean, שרק האיש חפץ חיים בעולם הזה רוצה לעשות חיים ויוצא למסחר או לעבודה, הוא זקוק לזה, להתקיים עד העולם הזה. מה שאין כן, הוא יושב בית המדרש. He says, somebody is going outside, dealing with people, with customers, with boss. That's hard for him to keep the Lashon Hara. Somebody sitting learning all day, most probably, he's not gonna say Lashon Hara. From now on, you wanna have practice? Buy books, invest, spread projects, Lashon Hara. You wanna become rich? Right here. Take the book. Guarantee. Don't go somewhere else. Don't go Segula. Guarantee from the Torah. Mi Chaish, who is the man? But we don't believe it. The Chafetz Chaim says in his introduction of the book, if 3 days we don't learn his book, after 3 days we're going to start speaking Lashon Hara. There's a kitzur, there's a called the meats, which just means the juice of the halacha. He just comes to the point and he learns the Lashon Hara. Rabbi, I know all the laws of Lashon Hara. You do? Can you tell me everything Baal Peh, memorizing it? No. Can you tell me where it says in the Torah you're not supposed to be speak? No. That means we don't know. We have to know. And that's we're able to get from this whole mess. And we're able to save a lot of fights in a family, with the boss, with the employees. The world is going to be a lot with the shalom. When a person's speaking here and there and here, and your father said like this, and your mother said like this, and your boss said like this, your sister said like this, and this, I'm right. No. That's you miserable. That's misery. Be'ezrat Hashem, Hashem should give us baracha, tzlacha, sason v'simcha, b'riyut, arvei nachat, v'chen yeratzon v'nomar, amen. They didn't change their clothing. They did not dress like a goyim. We all what? No, you're a tzaddik. You're not dressed like a goy.